Today we're going to go over some things to check if your encoder is not reporting index. We're using the E5 for demonstration purposes, but these tips would hold true for the E2, E3, and E6 encoders as well. First, let's make sure the encoder disk and module are matching. If you were to have a module that doesn't support index, it won't report one, even if your disk has index. Let's start by looking at the encoder disk. So you can see on the disk here that there is an index mark. You may need to rotate it if it's behind the module, but there is an index mark on this disk. Next, let's check to see if the module supports index. To do so, find the part number listed on the module face. Part number is on the bottom half of the module here on the front face. And in this case, you see the 1-1250-I. That I on the part number indicates that the module does support index. When they do match, the next thing to double check is that the encoder is assembled according to our specifications. If the disk is not aligned with the detector chip, it will not work correctly. First, let's visually inspect the hub disk for any damage. We're looking for larger issues such as bent, scratched, or contaminated disks. Small dust particles or fingerprints shouldn't be an issue. We're talking about larger problems that impact multiple lines or the overall shape of the disk. If everything looks good, you're going to want to verify that the encoder base and hub disk is centered on the shaft and that the hub disk is correctly spaced in relation to the module. To do this, we're going to use the spacer tool that was provided with the order. And in this case, the spacer tool does not slide under the hub assembly. So this may be the first part of our problem. Let's correct that. We can do this by loosening the set screw. We'll have to move this up on the shaft slightly. Slide that spacer tool underneath and then press that back down so that it fits snugly against that spacer tool, and retighten the set screw. This may have been the only problem, so you could reassemble and retest at this point, but we'll go on to the next step to show you what else we could check as well. So we're going to now check the radial alignment or the centering of the base. So we're going to remove this disk completely. And then using the centering tool provided with the kit, we're going to slide this onto the shaft. And I'm not sure if this will show up in the video, but you can see that the centering tool does not fit inside that center hole on the mounting base. So with this base plate out of alignment, now the detector inside the module will also be offset, which will cause problems with the disk and the sensor being aligned properly. So we're going to loosen these screws up just a little bit, and then that centering tool will now fit down that taper inside that center hole there, and we can put some firm pressure on that base while we tighten these screws up. So now our mounting base is properly centered to this shaft using that tool. We can reinstall that hub disk, again using the spacer tool. Some light pressure there so that it's snug against the spacer. Tighten the set screw down. And now our alignment should be complete. So let's retest it. If you are still having issues even after rechecking the alignment, you may want to verify the runout of the shaft or axial play in the shaft as well. Because if the shaft itself has runout, then that can make the disk move in and out of alignment as the shaft rotates. So now, we can run our test. For this test, we are using our QSB encoder to USB adapter which connects Encoder up to any Windows PC, and we are using our free CPR quick check to verify the CPR and index on this encoder. And there you go. As you can see, we are now getting the correct CPR count, so we did have an alignment issue before. If you've checked all of these things and are still having issues, you're going to want to let us know. Start by reaching out to support@usdigital.com. Be sure to include the lot number listed on the encoder cover, begins with an M, and let us know that you've seen this video and checked through all these steps so that we can expedite the RMA process. Everything we mentioned in this video are things that we'd be asking you to check before initializing the process. So letting us know you've already done this will just make things that much faster.